So explain to atheists. So let me tell you a little bit story about how I became a Christian and why this is important. My family has never been a Christian going family. In fact, I've only been exposure to the church when I was in college. And even though throughout these times I have never really participated or really believed in God because I was thinking that God could not exist if the world is very superficial and we're seeing everything up front for what it is, right? It does not align with the science that I have been taught. And to that point, it just doesn't make any sense that God would exist past that dimension, right? To me, God was something that people went towards in terms of emotional support. And to be very blunt with you, that is how I found my way with God as well. I had to really seek God myself in order to see who God really is and to have Him change my life for what it is now. So, for just a quick crash course of what we're about to talk today, I would really like to dive into the topic of demons and what it means to live in a world where we are surrounded by demons. And for an atheist or for someone who doesn't believe in anything in relation to the church, this doesn't make any sense at all, right? This is probably just some some fan fiction ideology that the church has spun up for a means of control, more or less, is how a lot of people would view it at the very least. So, in Christian theology, not necessarily theology, but in the Christian hemisphere, demons are the things that cause people to be anxious, to cause people to spiral out of control in their life, and to strive conflicts between individuals. And these things usually come in personal torment where people might think to themselves, oh, I'm never enough. Oh, I'm always doing things wrong. Oh, something is holding me back. And these things are what Christians would say demons are. These are the things that we don't see, but they perceive within a spiritual warfare that we cannot immediately see. So, what modern day mental health crises are experiencing and how we associate it to psychology and all these different symptoms of anxiety, schizophrenia, etc., etc., etc. These are all cases of what a demonically possessed person would go through. And to put in some context, not everyone could be possessed, but everyone can be possessed. That's not a very good way to put it, but to put it simply, demons have the ability to take over someone's life in forms of lust, in forms of just trying to reason yourself out of things through your personal pride. So there's a saying that goes in any Christian circle, which is to know God is to fear God. And to fear God is to know that a higher power does exist and you should work under the authority of that God, right? If there was no authority of moral existence, it would not make any sense for us to do good things. So, why are humans inherently wanting to do good things, but they also live in a world where evil is constantly at its works? And just to kind of spiel out just a whole bunch of information just for you guys, we have an inherent reason to do good things because we are children of God. But we encounter hardships in life because we live in a world full of sin. And for an atheist, this is a lot to take in immediately because this just contradicts how everything is being viewed. But my hope is to really try to bring a perspective to fellow atheists on why the Christian perspective is so strong and why it has so much evidence throughout historic and accounts of the resurrection of Christ. And that is very important because the resurrection of Christ itself is supernatural and is not of what we know today as logical and scientific. So, if we really base it off these facts, we can see that it's reasonable why atheists would only see Christianity as fables and story tales and just fairy tales, to say the least. But there's a lot more to that than just the surface. And this is just scratching of the general surface of why Christians have such a strong belief of what they believe in. And to understand an atheistic perspective, I can give so much more examples, though it's important to know what you guys feel about what you think is important when it comes to spiritual beliefs or just guidance or just what we have here in the world today. So, if you guys have any questions related to spirituality in terms of religion, in terms of Christianity, and as an atheist, past atheist myself, I would bring much insight to you for what I've learned throughout my journey with Christ. So, leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think, and we'll see you guys whenever it's time. So, here we go.